Hello, I'm Brandon Barr from the Packing House Church in Redlands, and I want to invite you out to the Truth is Apologetics Conference on May 5th. Joining me right now is Jim Wallace, one of the conference speakers. Jim was a cold case detective and a serious atheist until the age of 35. He's still a cold case detective, but now he runs a ministry that actually defends the Christian faith at pleaseconvinceme.com. Jim, I have a few questions for you. First, what is apologetics? And second, why should a Christian in high school or college care about it?
Well, apologetics is, I think, in some ways kind of a lame word, because when we hear that word apologetic, we always think, well, what, are you apologizing for something? I mean, it just sounds so much like an apology. But what we're really talking about is a Greek word, apologia, that really means to make a defense, to make a case for. And that's what we're doing here, is we're making a case for what we believe. And it's really important because, folks, everyone is making a case for what they believe, and if we're not going to do it, we're going to be run over by their worldviews. And these worldviews are not even accurate worldviews. I mean, if you're sitting in this room right now and you're watching this video, and you're a young person who's maybe in high school or in college, and you're surrounded by your friends, let's say you've got 10 friends in the room with you, well, look around. The statistics pretty much bear out that in the next 4 years while these folks are in college with you, they're going to walk away from their faith in large numbers. As a matter of fact, at the end of 4 years, it's very likely anywhere from 2 to 4 of you will still be Christians. That means that 6 to 8 of you will walk away from your faith altogether. And that's, when they survey this, it's almost non-denominational in how it is approached. Lifeway's done surveys on this, Barna Group has done surveys on this, Gallup has done surveys on it, secular groups at UCLA have done surveys on this, and it's almost always the same. It's bad news. It's that most Christians in college will walk away from their faith, and Lifeway says only about a third will ever return to the church. And I would suspect that when they do return to the church, they're bruised in some way, or they've given up certain key doctrines of the faith. Look, folks, we have got to train ourselves. We've got to get ready to prepare to defend ourselves when we go to college. Because in that setting, college university professors are sometimes 3 to 5 times the percentages that you see in the general population are atheists. And these are the folks who are giving your grades, grading your papers, teaching your lessons, and you'll be saturated with a worldview that is not true, yet it's persuasive given the setting in which it's described. And so what we're trying to do is say, hey, look, if we happen to hold the truth, and young people are walking away from the truth of these large numbers in college, why is that happening? And I was one of these guys. I was not a Christian until I was 35. But I am committed now to making cases for the Christian worldview based on the information, the techniques that I've learned as a detective. And what I'm hoping to do is to pass along some of those strategies to you, given the evidence we have, to show you that the Christian worldview is indeed the most reasonable inference from the evidence. We've got good reason to believe that this is true. You can have confidence in the Christian worldview. But you're only going to get confidence if you train for this fight. Look, how many times have you seen these MMA fighters, they sign a contract to do a fight, and once they sign the contract, they're working hard to get in shape. When I was younger, it was always boxers, right? And in between fights, boxers would get fat. And then they sign a contract, and now for the next 8 to 16 weeks, they are training like crazy because a fight is coming. Well, folks, a fight is coming. A battle is coming, and we've got to start training for the battle. I don't want to teach you guys, because that's just blah, blah, blah. I want to train you guys, because we've got to get ready for the fight. And I think we're going to try to do that on May 5th. The goal of May 5th is for those of us who have been through this battle a little bit to get in the ring with you and train you so you're ready and prepared to do battle in college and in university. That's the goal on May 5th.
Your topic at the conference will be on trusting the gospel accounts, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So why would a Christian want to hear someone defend a part of the Bible? They already believe in it, right?
Well, look, some of us believe things by accident. We happen to hold to the truth. We hold to the truth without even knowing why we believe it's true. We just get lucky. We happen to accept this because maybe our parents taught us this, or a good friend of us brought us into the church, or there's a cute girl or a cute guy in the church, that's why we're here. Great. You happen to accidentally believe the truth. Well, believing the truth accidentally works great in a lot of settings. It doesn't work great when you're one-on-one in the university setting or at your job 10 years from now. You're being challenged for the very first time as to why would you believe this silly supernatural story about a man who claimed to be God, claimed to do miracles, claimed to rise from the dead. when you're going to be confronted with lots of reasons to abandon that silly mythology. And we want to be able to say, hey, you know what? There's good reason to believe that these are reliable eyewitness accounts. I'm going to tell you, I was not a Christian until I read the Gospel of Mark using a forensic technique we use in law enforcement called forensic statement analysis. I used that when I first read the Gospel of Mark, and I became convinced that that Gospel was a reliable eyewitness account, but I had a problem. It contains tons of miraculous events, right? Miracles and walking on water, all these things that I'm like, hey, none of that can be true. So how do you get from a place where you understand how reliable an account is, but you learn to accept that the best inference from the evidence is that, in fact, not only is the account reliable, those miracles that occurred actually did occur. And once I realized that I was at that place where the evidence, the most reasonable inference for the evidence was that, yes, Jesus rose from the dead, I was stuck with more than a good teacher, more than a wise sage from the ancient past. I was stuck with God himself on the pages of Scripture. Now, that's life-changing. And we all know it's life-changing. And when you have that kind of confidence, you move from belief that something is true to belief in something that saves your life. And that's what we're trying to do, is give you confidence to be able to hold on and make a case through the universities, through the workplace, in our secular culture. And number two, to be transformed by that truth so you actually understand this difference between belief that and belief in. We're going to talk about that on May 5th.